Hey, sports history fans, this is Ariel Gonzalez from Wrestling with Heels On. Hey, when you go to a sporting event, you don't go there to be meek and mild, unless you live in Japan. You go there to get freaking wild. That means bringing some attitude to your amplitude. How do you do that? You get Racket. R-A-K-I-T. Racket combines a compact 7-inch megaphone, 8 powerful adjustable LED lights, noisemakers, an insert you design, and it's all fully customizable to match your team's colors. Now here's the coolest thing about this product. J.J. Abraham, the founder, was the ultimate cheer dad. He followed his daughter's cheer group around the country, and he saw parents struggling using all sorts of crazy contraptions to make some noise for their kids. And then he had an aha moment. He thought, wait, why not combine all of these doodads into an all-in-one compact device for the ultimate fan? JJ and his team worked 3 years on developing version after version after version until they finally landed on Racket, R-A-K-I-T, so you can make some noise and cheer and be a part of the action. So get out there and let's get loud. Bring a racket to your next game or competition to cheer on your favorite team or athlete. You can customize your racket with your own logos, drawings, and names. Get beads to match your team's colors. Flashing lights add to the excitement. Are you ready to make a racket? Be part of the game. Each racket pack comes with 1 racket megaphone, 1 lanyard to keep a hold of the thing, 2 scratch-resistant bead packs, 1 clear and 1 color of your choice, and a 10-pack of customizable self-adhesive inserts. Currently on sale, wait for it, $24.99. To pick up your racket today, head to myracket.com. That's myraket.com. Now get out there and make some noise.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Yesterday's Sports on the Sports History Network. Today we will finish with Part 3, the top quarterbacks of the 1970s. At number 4, we have Bob Griese, who played his entire decade with the Miami Dolphins. The familiar knock on Griese is all he had to do was hand the ball off to Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris, and Jim Kick. But it just isn't true. It is true that the Dolphins had one of the most dominant running games in NFL history. But people tend to forget that it only lasted for 3 seasons, 1971, 72, and 73, and maybe a little bit in 1974. But Griese played 14 seasons. In 1967, he won the AFL Rookie of the Year award. The following year, Bob played in the AFL All-Star Game. Griese struggled in his 3rd season, but he came back in 1970 to lead the Dolphins to their first playoff appearance, and also played in the Pro Bowl. In 1971, he led his team to the Super Bowl, made the All-Pro team, and placed 4th in MVP votes. Griese broke his ankle in Week 5 of the 1972 season, but returned in the postseason to help lead his team to an undefeated season and a Super Bowl victory. Griese again made the Pro Bowl in 1973 and led his team to their 2nd Super Bowl victory. 1974 was another Pro Bowl season for Griese, but the Dolphins did not make it back to the Super Bowl, nor would they again for the remainder of Griese's career. Griese had a good season in 1975 until a broken toe in Week 10 ended his season prematurely. Miami finished the season at 10-4, but failed to reach the playoffs. 1976 was not a particularly good season for Greasy or the Dolphins, but he had perhaps his best season in 1977. He led the league in touchdown throws, made the All-Pro team, and placed second in MVP votes. And oh, by the way, Zonka, Morris, Kick, and Greasy's favorite receiver, Paul Warfield, were no longer with the team. Greasy missed the beginning of the 1978 season due to a knee injury and a preseason game. But he started 9 games, led the league with a 63% pass completion, made the Pro Bowl again, and led the Dolphins to the playoffs. Age and injuries began to take their toll on Greasy, who retired after the 1980 season. In my opinion, his place in the Hall of Fame is well deserved. At number 3, we have Fran Tarkenton. Played for the New York Giants and the Minnesota Vikings 1970 to 1978. After 5 Pro Bowl seasons in the 1960s, Tarkenton began the decade of the 1970s with yet another Pro Bowl season, leading the Giants to their first winning season since 1963 and finishing 3rd in NFL MVP votes. But the following season did not go well for Tarkenton or the Giants, and he was traded back to his original team, the Vikings. After a so-so 1972 season, Tarkenton led his Vikings to the Super Bowl in 1973 with an impressive 93.2 passer rating. In 1974, Tarkenton made his 7th Pro Bowl and again led his team to the Super Bowl. In 1975, at age 35, Tarkenton may have had the best season of his career, leading the league in both completions and touchdown throws. For his efforts, he was named All-Pro and NFL MVP. In 1976, Tarkenton led the league in completions, made the Pro Bowl again, and led the Vikings to their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. Tarkenton's 1977 season was an injury-shortened one, but he still led the league in completion percentage. Tarkenton led the league in completions and passing yardage in his final season in 1978. He retired with 342 passing touchdowns, which 45 years later still ranks 11th all-time. Of course, the knock on Tarkenton is that he went 0-3 in Super Bowls. But to place the blame solely on him is hardly fair. Football is, after all, a team game. At number 2, we have Terry Bradshaw, who played the entire decade of the 70s with the Pittsburgh Steelers. To say Bradshaw struggled in his first 2 seasons is an understatement. He threw only 19 touchdown passes compared to 46 interceptions. His next 2 seasons were better, but still not what the Steelers expected from him. After 4 seasons, it wasn't an exaggeration to say Bradshaw was thus far a disappointment. 1974 didn't start much better for Bradshaw, as he lost his starting position to Joe Gilliam. Bradshaw won his job back and helped lead the Steelers to their first Super Bowl victory. After 5 seasons of up-and-down performances, Bradshaw had his breakout season in 1975, throwing twice as many touchdowns as interceptions, playing in his first Pro Bowl, and finishing with an 88.0 passer rating, the best of his career. To top it off, the Steelers won the Super Bowl again. Bradshaw, bothered by injuries in 1976, couldn't match his 1975 season, nor could the Steelers, as they failed in their bid for a three-peat. 1977 wasn't a great year for Bradshaw or the Steelers, but he came back strong in 1978, leading the league in touchdown throws. He was named All-Pro for the first time in his career and won the NFL MVP award. The Steelers won their third Super Bowl, and Bradshaw was named the game MVP. Bradshaw repeated as Super Bowl MVP the following season as the Steelers won Super Bowl number 4. 1 week later, he played in his third Pro Bowl. He also placed 4th in MVP voting that season. There are some who believe that Bradshaw should be ranked number 1 based on his 4 Super Bowl rings. But I can't go along with that logic, as Bradshaw did not win those rings all by himself. But I will say this, despite not having overly impressive career statistics, Bradshaw's postseason record is 14 wins and 5 losses, and that counts for a lot. At number 1, we have Roger Staubach. Played the entire decade of the 1970s with the Dallas Cowboys. Staubach didn't get much playing time until he was named a starter in his third season. He led the league with an off-the-charts 104.8 passer rating, played in the Pro Bowl, placed second in MVP votes, and led the Cowboys to a Super Bowl victory, where he was named the game's MVP. Roger missed almost the entire 1972 season due to a shoulder injury, but he came back in 1973 to lead the league in both touchdowns and passer rating. 1974 wasn't one of Rogers' better years, as both he and the Cowboys struggled, missing the playoffs for the first time since 1965. Staubach put his leadership skills to use the following season, leading a much younger team with 12 rookies back to the Super Bowl and putting himself back into the Pro Bowl. 1976 was another Pro Bowl season for Staubach, but the Cowboys fell short of another Super Bowl appearance. Roger made his 4th Pro Bowl in 1977, and more importantly, he helped lead the Cowboys to their 2nd Super Bowl victory. Staubach led the league in passer rating in 1978, made his 5th Pro Bowl, and placed 4th in MVP votes, and helped lead the Cowboys to their 5th Super Bowl appearance. Rogers' final season may have been his best, as he led the league in passer rating for the 4th time in 9 years. He made the Pro Bowl for the 5th year in a row. He made the All-Pro team and placed 4th in MVP votes. Staubach's record as the Cowboys' starting quarterback is an impressive 96 wins and 35 losses. That concludes our podcast and our look at the top 1970s quarterbacks. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and God bless.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal, tapping on a stone, trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.